breaking news! Hey, it's Bobby, aka Paginator, and I'm here to tell you about the summer reading challenge that I created. I created this challenge just for myself, and I thought it would be fun to share it with you guys. I also did share a kid-friendly version with the reading teachers at my school in case they wanted to give it to the kids to read over the summer, but totally up to them. And this is totally up to you. You can choose to do this challenge if you would like to, or you can choose not to. It's just here because I like to share things. So my theme is literary locations, and I have created a map of locations from different books. I would do a zoom in on the map, but I had to like digitize my drawing and then add it to this document and then print it out again, and the printer isn't great and my camera is kind of a piece of garbage when it comes to zooming and staying focused while zooming. And anyway, this is the closest thing you're going to get to look at the map unless you download the document. It is linked as a PDF in the description box, so you're welcome to use it if you'd like to. But on the map, we have many different locations. There are 15 locations with a prompt to go with each one. And what you would do is just set yourself a goal. If you want to read 3 books this summer, pick 3 prompts. If you want to read all 15, do that. If you just want to read 1, whatever it is that you want to do, make a plan for it. Set yourself that goal, and then decide when you want to achieve it by, how you know you're going to be successful, and what you'll do to reward yourself once you've achieved certain benchmarks or have finally finished the entire goal. And when you complete a task from each location, you can either color in or cross off the location on the map. You can add stickers, you can like do fancy little doodles, you can just do a check mark, like whatever is satisfying to you. This is completely in your control here. You can use middle grade, adult, young adult, any kind of books that you want. It's for you to decide what you're going to read. But I am going to take you through the locations on the map and the prompts for each one. I am very much a mood reader, and especially in the summertime, I don't like to get too stuck in what I read. I will still be doing my monthly deck of TBR, but I'm not going to say these are the exact books I'm going to do for this summer reading challenge. As I tell you the locations, I'll give you some examples of possibilities. Okay, so the first location is the Shire, and the prompt for this one is read a book published before you were born. I was born in the late 70s, so I was looking up some books that were published shortly before I was born, and I found a couple of possibilities. One is The Shining by Stephen King. I don't know if I'm brave enough to read that book because the movie scares me, but there we go. We also have the Wrinkle in Time series, which would be a reread for me, but it's a dang good book series. And The Great Gilly Hopkins, which I've never read, and the Westing Game, which would be another reread for me. There are lots of books that were published before I was born, like all of Jane Austen's, all of Shakespeare. You know, there's tons and hundreds of books published before I was born, but those were just some that I was kind of looking at that were near that window of time, I guess. Location number 2 is the Lamppost. This, of course, is from Chronicles of Narnia. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, Shire is from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I feel like most people in the world today have at least heard of the Shire, but I could be wrong. Anyway, back to prompt 2, the Lamppost. This is something that Lucy Pevensey sees when she goes through the wardrobe in Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe for the first time. The lamppost is kind of a landmark. It represents light and hope and also coming home. So, on that theme, the prompt that goes with this one is pick a book with bright colors on the cover. I wanted something that was uplifting and fun to just look at. So one example might be this book here, Pride and Premeditation. This is something that I picked up at Barnes & Noble on a recent shopping trip, and it's very, very bright. So that could be a possibility. I also have the book Crown, which is bright yellow on the cover. I've got Fat Chance Charlie Vega, which is kind of a bright orangey color. There's lots of possibilities. So you could just go to your local library or to your TBR shelf or wherever and look for a cover that pops out at you. The third location is The Cliffs of Insanity, and this is from the book The Princess Bride. Most people know the movie version, but it's fairly close to what the book is. Anyway, the Cliffs of Insanity prompt is read a book over 400 pages. I was thinking about switching this to over 500 for your version of this readathon, but reading challenge, because I was making this challenge to share with school kids, I thought, you know what, let's go 400. That's an appropriate challenge for middle schoolers. So books over 400 pages. My most likely to be pick is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. A good friend of mine recently borrowed my copy of this. I trust her completely with my books, so it was not like super stressful. Most people don't get to borrow my really pretty books. But anyway, she really loved it, and I am really intrigued from her discussion and things that she talked about, and I really, really, really want to read it. I feel like I want to reorganize my bookshelves again. I did this whole thing where I kept one section organized by author's last name, and then another section I organized by color. And I feel like in the color section I can't find anything anymore. So they might get rearranged again. I don't know. But we're moving on to our next prompt. So that we've got 3. So number 4 would be Treasure Island from Treasure Island. And this is read a book featuring an adventure. So a couple of ideas I had for this one, and these books are in my classroom, so I don't have them to hold up for you here. I have the Alex Rider series, which is very adventurous, like kind of young James Bond kind of series. I have the False Prince series. I read the first one, but I haven't finished that trilogy. And then The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner, that whole series, and the new one has finally come out after years and years. I've never read even the first one. So I'm going to have to borrow that one from the library because I don't think I even have it in my classroom. Okay, location number 5, Camp Green Lake from the book Holes. Read a book entirely outdoors. Wear sunscreen, especially if you burn easily like me. I was at a track meet for maybe 20 minutes today, and I covered myself in sunscreen before I got out of the car. Just no. Anyway, read a book entirely outdoors. This can be anything. And what I'm thinking is that I definitely want to include at least 3 middle grades this summer. And looking at my specific middle grade challenge that I'm working on, I really think that I might read Hollowpox Outside, which is the 3rd book in the Morgan Crow series. But again, I am a mood reader and that might change. So we'll see how the summer goes. While I'm thinking about this, I will say, for me, the timetable of this is going to be starting after school is out and ending before school starts again in the fall. For you, you can set your timetable any which way you would like. All right, location number 6, Green Gables, from Anne of Green Gables, of course. Read a book with a female main character. I have so many options for this because so many books these days are being published with female main characters. It's fabulous. I really want to reread Moxie because last night I watched the Moxie movie on Netflix and it was awesome and it made me remember how much I love that book. But in the interest of reading something new that I haven't read before that features a female main character, I have a couple of possibilities. One of them is Cursed. This is also a Netflix series, so it would be fun to do like a read and watch along. Another one is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. This book came out a couple years ago and it's just received such high praise. It is a middle grade book and definitely something that I want to get to. I have like a jillion books of female main characters, but here's just one more for us to look at. City of Villains. This is a origin story of Maleficent. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I'm hopeful. Okay, location number 7 is Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, and the prompt is read a book with a male main character. I have a book at school called Boy 21, another book at the school called Kick. I've also been thinking about Lord of the Rings and Perks of Being a Wallflower. I've never read that book and I've been told it has a male main character. If you've read it, let me know if that's correct. So those are what I'm thinking about for that one. Number 8, our location is Hogwarts. You knew it was going to show up somewhere on here, being a challenge made by me. The prompt here is read a book featuring magic. So it does not have to be Harry Potter related. I know some people are still really upset with J.K. Rowling and don't want to read her books anymore, which is fine. That's your choice to make. But find a book that features magic. For example, Ember in the Ashes. I have never read Ember in the Ashes. There's a whole series that I am missing out on there. Forest of Souls, I haven't read. Ghostwood Song, I haven't read. Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu, I haven't read. Why? I don't know. I love Marie Lu. I adore everything of hers that I've ever read. There's so many books with magic that I have available. Location number 9 is Wilbur's Barn, and this, of course, comes from the book Charlotte's Web, and the prompt is read a book featuring animals either in the story or on the cover. So again, I have several choices, and there's a series called okay, I'm going to forget the official name of the series, but the first book is Wolf Brother, and it's the something Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. That's what it is. I kind of want to reread that series. I know I'm talking about a lot of rereads here, but in terms of new books with animals on the cover, I have a few here on my shelves. So we have this one of Ice and Shadows, and there is a horse on the cover. This is a sequel to A Fire and Stars, which I absolutely adored, so it would be great to get the sequel. And here's another sequel that has animals on the cover. This is Written in Starlight, which is, I can't remember if it's a sequel or a companion to Woven in Moonlight, but there's a little froggy here, and we have some fish, and a crocodile, and what appears to be some kind of sea creature with a ridged back. It's not like a dolphin. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a sea creature. It's too tiny to tell. And we've also got a butterfly, which is not technically an animal, it's an insect, but still, I think that counts. You know what I'm realizing? I have way too many books in my house that I haven't read, and yet this weekend I am going to see a play in Utah, and I have every intention of stopping by a bookstore while I'm there. Here's why. It's Mother's Day weekend. I hate Mother's Day. It's extremely painful for me, and if I need to self-medicate with books, it's a lot better than self-medicating with alcohol or excessive amounts of food or like giant bags of chocolate. Like, I'm okay with medicating myself with books. It's fine. Plus, it's more content for you guys because then I get to do a haul, right? All right, let's get back to the challenge. Location number 10 is the Chokey, and this is from the classic book Matilda. The Chokey, if you're not familiar, is a punishment closet where the mean principal of the school puts kids when they've been naughty or when she thinks they've been naughty. For this prompt, read a book you can read in just a day or two. So I've got a couple of ideas for this one. I thought of Dear Justice by Nick Stone because for me, Nick Stone's books flow very easily and I can get through them very quickly. Another one that I saw right behind me on the shelf, so I quickly grabbed it to hold up for you, is Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. I listened to an episode of Marissa Meyer's podcast where she was interviewing Allie Carter and just have so much respect for her as a writer. And I remember that Scholastic had sent me this ARC before the book came out, which I never actually read. And it's a tiny book, and it would be definitely one I could get through in probably a day or less. What number did I say was the Chokey? It's number 10. If I said a different number, I apologize. So location 11 is The Bridge to Terabithia from The Bridge to Terabithia. And for this one, read a book featuring friendship. And of course, in the world of young adult and middle grade, we have tons of books that feature friendship, but I'm really strongly considering Fire by Kristen Cashore. This is the second book in the Graceling series, and I've only read the first one, and that's just disgraceful. So this is a high contender for that category. Location number 12 is Camp Half-Blood, of course, from the Percy Jackson series. And this prompt says, read a book based on a myth or a fairy tale. You could also count folklore in there as well. One thought I had was When You Trap a Tiger, which was the recent Newbery winner. It's in my classroom, so again, can't hold it up for you here. There's another one that I've heard about that's a Snow White retelling called Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bechardust. I don't know if you say that her name that way or not, but I've heard good things about that. Also on Marissa Meyer's podcast. Or no, I think that was on the Hey YA podcast. One of those two. And for some reason, the idea of a Snow White retelling is just like intriguing to me right now. All right, so we're on to stop 13, and that is Neverland, of course, from Peter Pan. And this prompt is read a fantasy book. I am up to my ears in fantasy books because my professor that I'm working with through grad school suggested that I fully immerse myself in as much fantasy as possible before writing my thesis, which is also going to be fantasy. So I have got oodles of fantasy picks. Like, I'm looking at my shelf here, and there's a stack of books that are yet to be shelved, and I think 90% of them are fantasy. Don't get too excited. There's not tons. There's maybe like 10 books, and 9 of them are fantasy. So I have Malamanter and Gargantus, which are middle grade books that are fantasy. I have the sequel to Frostheart by Jamie Littler. I have The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which I'm supposed to be reading this month in May, which is why it's handy here on the table. But who knows if I'll get to it or not, because my middle schoolers are driving me absolutely bonkers right now. And looking around, I've got Soul of Star by Ashley Poston. I have got books 2 and 3 in the City of Brass series by S.A. Chakraborty. Fantasy, I'm up to my elbows in. I think you get the point. While we're on the subject of middle schoolers driving me bonkers, can I just say, I went to the high school track meet because many of my students are now in high school, and I would like to be supportive of them, and it was beautiful weather today, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go put on some sunscreen, I'm going to go sit at the track meet, enjoy a few races, support my kiddos, and then go home and do something productive. One of my middle schoolers decided it would be a good idea to try to attack me with a squirt gun. He's like, "Hey, Miss Page!" Luckily, he did not get me. He accidentally got the school librarian that I was chatting with. But still, what kind of person tries to shoot their teacher with a water gun? A middle schooler, of course. Sorry, I just had to vent there for a second. All right, we are down to 2 more locations. So location 14 is The Secret Garden from The Secret Garden. And with this one, read a book featuring a character with a disability. A couple of books I'm thinking about are Marcello in the Real World by Francisco X. Stork, which has won all kinds of awards and I have never read. And I have a book in my classroom. I can see the cover. It's got bright pink and blue on it. I ordered it from Book Depository because it had to come from the UK. It's about a girl with autism, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. Hopefully I will remember by the time I'm editing this video so I can slip the title in and a subtitle down here below. But I've got a couple of books that I'm considering for this category. And our last stop on this map is location number 15, The Capital from The Hunger Games. This prompt is read a dystopian book. Now, I got on Goodreads and looked at their list of young adult dystopian books, and I've read so many of them. And I'm trying to make myself read books that I haven't read before. So I think I'm going to read Unwind by Neal Shusterman. I know it's been out for ages, but I have never read that one. There's lots of good books that I've just kind of missed because you never have quite enough time to get everything. But I think that Unwind is going to be my dystopian pick for that one. So there we have it, 15 locations and 15 prompts. Once again, this is just available for your use if you wish to by clicking in the description box down below. There should be a link, and I have made the link available to everyone who has the link, so you shouldn't need a password to get to the file. But if anything does go wrong, please kindly let me know, and I will do everything I can to fix that for you and make it available. The document that you'll see is just 2 pages. We have 1 page with the map and 1 page with the locations and prompts. So it's up to you to use if you wish to, and I would like to wish you a wonderful, magical, and bookish day / upcoming summer. Happy reading. Adios.